All right, we're going to move into iron play now. And we've talked about aim and how important it is. The next thing that's just as important as your aim is the way you grip the club and how we set up, meaning our posture. You really need to be in a good posture for a number of different reasons. One, it's going to protect your back, protect some body parts. Two, you need to be in a really good posture to make good contact, good, solid, consistent contact. So the way that I get into my posture, what I always try to think about is, I played a lot of sports, and that typical athletic position is kind of like if I'm playing defense or anything that's you kind of bend your knees, put weights on the balls of your feet, hands are always out in front of you. So it's pretty similar, except for we want to stand a little taller and we bend from the waist. That's the difference, and then you unlock your knees. So I don't want to be scrunched to where I'm so low, like I'm ready to do a jump squat. I want to be nice and tall, bent over from the waist. So what I do is I always just push myself in my belt buckle to get me there, where I bend from my waist. So it would look like this. And then I just unlock my knees, and I'm nice and tall, and my arms hang right in front of me, just like with the pitch and the chip. So nothing's changing with the arms hanging naturally.
So how far is your club head from
From
say,
the
your
ball?
toes after you establish
yeah.
the correct
It
stance?
depends on what club I use, but my rule of thumb and how I would figure that out would be, so here I am with the club and the ball, right? I'm tall, I've bent from the waist, I've unlocked my knees. I would like to see a fist and a thumb at the most in between you and the club, and that allows your arms to just hang naturally. So if you go fist and a thumb, you can see I'm going to have a little bit more waist bend than most. If I stay nice and tall, I'm about a fist away. And that's a good checkpoint for how far the club head should be away from your toes. You want at least a fist of room to give yourself for your arms to be able to swing in front of you. That's a really good question.
But maybe a fist and a thumb.
Yeah, fist
Wow.
and a thumb, if that feels better for you. Just
That would be
somewhere
more
in
than
there
I
is
would-
a really good checkpoint for how far away you should be. Any further than that, you start reaching. Any closer than that, you can see my arms can't hang naturally here. They're tucked against me and I can't swing. So that's, I think, a really good checkpoint and a great question. The next thing
It's too close.
with the grip,
There was more here.
I was thinking it was
I always
further.
just use some very basic checkpoints for my grip, and there's something I've always continued to work on as I play golf, and it's my grip. It's just something that, as you know, if you've ever taken just a private lesson with any instructor, the first thing they usually do is try to change your grip, and as soon as they've done that, it now just feels like you don't even know how to hold the club any longer. It feels so foreign, and once you get into bad habits, it's like it just feels good to you, but it's really not the proper way to hold the club, is what I see with most amateur golfers. So myself, I'm constantly working on it, because eventually it starts to feel good, and then I've developed a bad habit. So I'm always checking to make sure I go back to my keys and I hold the club properly, because that is the motor for your hands being able to hold it and not flip and do other things. So basically, my checkpoints for my grip is I hold it in the lifeline of my left hand. We're all right-handed golfers. So right in the lifeline of my left hand. That way the muscle pad of my hand will be right on the top of the grip here. And then from there, once I actually grip it, I will show you all. My thumb and my pointer finger here looks like the letter V. And that is always my real big checkpoint. I need that to point up at my right shoulder. Letter V, right shoulder. Boom. Pretty good. Right up at it. So that's pretty good. From there, my other test to make sure it's in my lifeline is I should be able to hold the club with one finger, my pointer finger, where it'll stay under my hand like that. If you can't do that, if it's falling on you like this and it ends up in your thumb, you don't have it in your lifeline. If you don't have that muscle pad on top. So in order for me to do that with just my pointer, you can see my muscle pad's right there. And if it wasn't, it would fall on me like that.
You know, one thing I notice is my gloves always wear out right here.
Yeah,
Does that mean I'm holding the club down too low, or should I move it up here?
probably. I'd like to see it just a little, just right in that lifeline.
Just up here.
Yep. That
With the
thumb
V
and
at
that
the
pointer
right
finger making
shoulder.
a V, right to the right shoulder. So you can see, yeah, just like that, better. So that's the first part.
But
And then
with the previous one, though, you're saying the hand should be about like this.
that's our finesse grip, where we don't need
Finesse
as much
grip.
power. We're not trying to release
so
the
the
club too much.
60-yard shot like this,
Yep.
but a full 8-iron, you'd move this
Right, yep.
over. And you haven't
Exactly.
gotten to the right
and you can
hand
see
yet.
how your grip has these lines on it. That's what they're there for. They're actually grip alignment lines there. So,
Really?
yeah, you can see
didn't know
when
that.
once you got into that grip we just talked about, you could see it was like your hand fit right perfectly with those, and that other one was perfectly on the other one. So you have the same thing with, we both have these multi-compound grips. That's what this is. It's like an alignment tool.
Okay.
I
You've
never
got
knew
the
that.
tennis handle, so you've got the comfortable,
So
nice,
the
soft
thumbs
grip.
should
That thing
be
is
on
really good grip. It doesn't have an alignment aid, but it's an awesome grip. It's nice and soft. I like that one. And yours kind of has it. Those lines all right there. They're meant for to help you grip.
Just stay on top of those.
But the,
Now, I've never used an interlocking grip.
never did. So you can stay 10 finger. Nothing wrong with that at all. I've always interlocked just because when I was a little kid, Tiger Woods did it and Jack Nicklaus did it. I think we talked about kind of how those
Yeah.
were my model guys, and I always felt they won all those tournaments. That's probably how I should hold the club. So that's how I started. But
Do you use an
you can go
interlocking?
10 finger.
Yeah, is it interlocking like this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
The
what
other
I
one
did.
is the overlap, where instead of interlocking, you can go over it, or the 10 finger. The 10 finger is good though. That's, you know, when I have beginner
Yes,
golfers,
this
I
is
always
what I
teach
do.
the 10 finger. That's what you do. So that's the overlap, and you've kind of got a double overlap there.
This guy.
Yeah, I'd like to see more like that. It's gonna feel extremely weird now. Exactly what we were talking about in the beginning. But I mean, that could even be part of the power issue.
Yeah,
Your hands just aren't even on the club.
yeah.
I wouldn't double overlap unless I was putting. That'd be the only time I would ever do that. If you went just straight 10 finger like this, that actually lets you kind of release the club even more and get a little more power. If I just put my full right hand on it, or even the interlock, the overlap that you just move to, that will even kind of give you that feeling too. But continuing on with the grip here, that V to our right shoulder. Now our right hand, all you do is just slide it right down in there, interlock, 10 finger, overlap, whatever you feel comfortable with, and it's the same checkpoint. My finger and my thumb are going to make the letter V that also points
To the
right up to
same
my right
shoulder,
shoulder. Yep,
right?
they both point to your right shoulder. What that is allowing for, our hands now are working together. They're kind of gripping the club in exact opposites, being a
So
right and left
you'd have
hand.
your thumb over
They
here.
work
then.
together.
It's completely different.
It
Compared
is,
to
isn't it?
what I'll see from other people, they'll go thumb down the shaft, left hand,
Yeah.
and then they'll go extremely strong right hand. And now I have two opposite, the hands are just not working together. This one's weak, this one's strong. So it's very counterproductive.
So your right thumb should be over here,
Yep.
not here.
Yep, exactly.
Because if I do it here, then it's pointing more up
So
here.
then your
it's
right
not-
hand's, exactly.
It's not
exactly.
pointing to the right shoulder.
You got it.
Got
So
it.
that looks good. Really good.
Is that
Really
okay?
good. That looks good. Yep, I like that. And
This over here more?
Yep, just over there. Perfect. So the next part of it that I would like to just to kind of give you another sense of, Ben Hogan, when he used to hit balls and he would practice, he didn't hit balls with this pointer finger or this thumb on of his right hand. Only these two and the one that was interlocked. The main reason being, those don't do anything other than sit on the club. And
Really?
yeah, so you don't need to have pressure like pressing from your thumb, pressing from these fingers. The three that do the work when we put the club in our lifeline, pinky, ring, and middle finger. Those are the three of your left hand. That's why we wear the glove on our left hand, is mainly because those are the three that hold it. That's the one that's going to control it. Then it's just those middle and ring finger kind of come on and you interlock, overlap, or 10 finger from there, and the other pointer and thumb just go for a ride. So when we're talking about grip pressure and making sure you're light, if you ever feel yourself squeezing with your thumbs and your pointer finger, you know, hey, those fingers really don't do any work. So if I'm using them, I need to go back to, this is what I said, I need to go back to myself when I get in, that started to feel comfortable with my thumb nice and tight on the shaft. Well, it doesn't need to be that way. So I just go back to, these are my engine, my three that I wear the glove on for, and then the other two, and then I'll do what Hogan did, and I'll hit a few balls this way and get used to that swing. That feeling of, all right, get my hands nice and relaxed again. So the grip pressure should always be just light enough that you don't let the club go flying away from you down the fairway. So I like to think like I have a baby bird in my hands and I don't want to squeeze that bird to
I
death.
know, I think I'd kill that bird.
Yeah, me too. Anytime I've had a pressure shot in my life, my left forearm starts bulging out every time. I can't just hold it lightly. So does anybody have any questions about any of that? All right, so we've got our grip, we've got how we aim, and we have how we stand with our posture. And those are the most important things when it comes to iron play. I want to grip the club nice and light with that proper grip. I want to get my aim like I'm on the railroad track. One track here, one track for my feet. And then from there, I kind of just want to feel like the last piece to my setup is I line up with the ball, club, and then my chin is behind the two of them. And I'm still solid with my legs. I'm in a good posture. And I just go ball, club, chin behind it. And then just stay ball in the middle of my stance with my 8-iron. And all I want to do is use my upper body to turn the club back. And it's the same thing earlier. I'm not going to flip it in here. I'm just going to turn it back. And then I use my lower body to get through. So what that allows for me is to use my big muscles rather than trying to throw my hands at the club or anything like that. So weight's about 50-50. I'm going to turn my upper body and use my legs to return. When I finish, all my weight is up on my front leg. And because we're actually trying to get a little power, now we're talking weight transfer. Now I'm just going to, when I turn my upper body, I let my weight get here to my right foot. And then from there, I use my legs to turn my body and get it back up to my left foot.
Now, do you release your wrist as much as you do with your wedge shot?
You should. You could still kind of have a similar feeling to what we were just working on. But a lot of the release is just coming from me just getting through and getting to my left side. As I get to my left side, I kind of just let it go and swing it through.
How
Does that
about
make
placement of the ball, Joe?
Placement
Is
of
it,
the ball.
For an 8-iron.
Right
So-
in the middle.
So, okay. But then
Good
you
way
said
to-
I had this right, you said your head is behind the club?
Ball, club, I feel like my chin's right behind it.
See, my chin is like right where the ball
Which is
was.
okay. I like to see you
Same
cover
here.
it, but I just like to have that feeling when I set up. For me, that's an old pro gave me that one, and I've been sticking with that one. Jack McConaughey from the Connecticut section.
So to move it back, it's going to cause you to shift a little weight, right?
Not really.
Or
There
turn
you
my
go.
head.
What you just did. Yeah, just a little bit like that. But you could stay covering it is just fine. That's just one of the things I like to do in my setup. Ball, club, chin behind it. The way that I get the ball in the middle of my feet was a good question about ball position. I start with my feet together, ball right in the middle of them, and then all I do from there, equal steps both sides, right in the middle. If I wanted it up in the front, like I was going to hit my driver, I do the same thing. Ball in between my 2 feet, very small step left leg, big step right leg, right inside my left heel.
Okay.
If I was going to hit a 6-iron or a hybrid, and I wanted off the logo of my shirt, ball right in between, kind of a medium step, bigger step, there it is, right off the logo. So I always just control it where the ball is by starting with my feet together and then taking the appropriate steps for where I'd like the ball to be in relation in my stance. And then all I'm trying to do, hands are nice and relaxed, turn my body and use my legs to return.
What
Any
club
questions?
is that?
This is an 8-iron. Any questions?
Can I try it?
Of course. Give it a shot. We can all go to a station if you'd like and hit a few. You can feel free.